Finally. How long has this taken?
Several lifetimes.
Yeah.
Several lifetimes.
So, Shaun, when are you free to have a chat for Perfect Balance podcast? You're like, I'm free in like 6 weeks, but I'm free all week, and I'm like, I'm busy all that week in 6 weeks because being an adult's hard.
That's the adult way.
Yeah.
It's the adult life.
And as everyone will know by watching either of our channels, we're definitely adults and not just big kids.
Yeah, not crackheads at all. We're here today to ask you this one vital question in life, which is, who doesn't love cream pie?
Just get that out of the way early.
I thought I'd get that out of the way
Yeah.
so that we didn't need to tread back to it later.
No,
we just leave it at that.
that's it. Yeah.
We'll leave you with that
We'll leave it
question.
to your imagination and see how dirty they are.
Yeah.
Because
It's a rhetorical question.
yeah, I mean, cream pies are
Answer it with your mind. Don't say it out loud.
totally.
Or you can say it in the comments.
Remain innocent. Just, I'd love it if imagine somebody commented on one of my videos. You get them. It's fine.
I'll comment.
Yeah, you comment.
I'll comment from me in the future.
Well, this
to
is
me
one
now,
thing. I
in the
know
past.
I know who you are both offline and online, but the few people that watch this channel probably don't know who you are. So plug yourself away.
Oh
straight
no!
away. Who are you?
Oh no!
Who are you?
I'm a terrible human being.
No.
I do some videos online for a YouTube channel. That's it. It's called Shadowfax. Like the horse from Lord of the Rings.
That's it. That was going to be my question.
The channel has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings.
Shadowfax was the Lord of all horses.
The Lord of all horses. And I'm the Lord of all losers. So
Can you also be summoned by a whistle?
sometimes.
By a white-haired lizard?
Depends how big the titties are.
That's the reason I've not been able to summon you to do this podcast, because I can't whistle. That's it. I've just figured it
It all makes sense now.
out. Yeah. So what kind of stuff do you do over on Shadowfax?
I do. It's hard to sort of. It started off going to be a horror sort of influenced.
Yeah.
Scottish legends, like not Loch Ness Monster, but in that sort of category where it'd be like cryptids and all that sort of thing. Then it ended up doing the complete opposite, and now it's just everything in one. So I do urban exploring. So I go into like abandoned mental asylums at night time to explore it, and I do some really funny stuff, like my last video where I got a naughty tattoo, a very naughty tattoo.
Are you getting out? Are you getting out?
I'm getting it out.
Okay.
I'm getting it out.
Let's do it.
Might as well.
Let's figure it out. Let's figure it out.
Okay.
Do you want me to hold the leg?
You're
up?
holding my leg. I'm wearing
No.
skinny jeans.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can see that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, there we go.
So
Titties.
titties. Sometimes you gotta appreciate the things you love in life, like anime and titties,
cartoon boobs.
and then show your parents for a video.
Yeah. And make sure they get to the bingo on time.
And make
after.
sure that they get to the bingo on time, otherwise they really will kill you.
Yeah.
That's not even a tattoo, why they will kill you.
We were just talking about this before we started, and I says to Hannah, I says, right, we need to watch Shaun's latest video. And her biggest takeaway from the video was not, Shaun's got a tattoo of like anime titties on his leg. She's like, did you take his mum to the bingo after to make sure she was okay?
Yeah.
Because through that whole video, she's like, I've got the bingo.
I've got the bingo.
It was like,
I just want to get to
it's
my
like, right,
bingo.
that's fine, son. You've got some cartoon porn on you, but I need to go to the bingo. It's just priorities.
It just really speaks volumes on the way that my parents sort of see me now, as they don't actually give a fuck anymore.
I think you're past the point of like saying, oh, this is our son with the terrible, horrible tattoos, because it's in a C on the rest of your body that nobody will see anyway. So
That's very true.
Yeah.
I reached that.
A human canvas.
Yeah.
From Shadowfax.
There's a whole
Do you
different...
have a Shadowfax tattoo?
I don't.
No.
No.
Surely that's got to be one in the future then.
I don't know.
But you are rapidly running out of space.
I am.
Yeah.
I've got like Lord of the Rings ones, as you know, but no Shadowfax.
Yeah.
All the
This is
villains.
where I insert various like topless selfies of you.
All the
because
villains.
you love taking your shirt off and showing them off. There's one.
There's my Lord of the Rings one right there on Dan's face.
Yeah, on my face, yeah.
And then
On
there's
your
my
face.
Star Wars
Well,
one.
it's on my face again.
On Dan's face
All right,
again,
yeah,
so ignore that.
Yeah.
I'm staying in this.
He's in control of the edit right now.
And then I don't remember what else I've got. You could see me.
You can see the Egyptian stuff.
I got sharks and
sharks.
a bunch of shit, a bunch of stuff.
I'll put them over your clothes onto this. Try and match up so it's like your topless. But you got
My
those,
innocence is gone.
yeah, and again, one thing we were talking about before was tattoo loyalty, and you were calling me a tattoo slut because I've got a few different artists for mine.
Exactly.
Whereas you
do the same.
Yeah. Alright, okay. Massive hypocrite.
Right. Here's the thing. Okay, it's fine going to different artists because different styles. We all get that. You know, they all got their own little thing. I'm the worst kind of person because I have two artists that do the same style.
That they both you go Bank Street predominantly, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Temple Tattoo.
Okay.
For the rest of it.
Where's
but
that
they're
one? I don't know
friends.
where that one is.
It's just opened in Broughty Ferry.
Okay.
So that's where the guy that does my Lord of the Rings sleeve, Raph, he owns that place and just opened it, and it's really cool. But yeah, so he.
I like you said that they're friends.
Yeah, they're friends. They
As
used to work
opposed to
together.
rival tattoo shops.
No, they're friends. And
Do they
so
like meet up and have scraps?
well,
Rival
every
tattoo
time
shops.
I
It's
go,
like football firms.
every time I'm getting a tattoo from one, the other one's like, "Let me see the last one that whoever done," and I'm just like, and he's like. Yeah, well, I'm going to do better today. Okay.
So you're like gaslighting them both.
Yeah,
Use that as
and it
motivation.
feels like I've got like
Do
a
better.
wife and a mistress.
Yeah.
I don't know which one's which though.
Mm.
Maybe just two wives.
Which one do you feel naughtier about seeing?
I kind of feel guilty. Both. Like I just sort of feel.
But there's definitely
feel-
one that you feel worse about seeing. There is, because then that's the mistress. Because you know you shouldn't be there.
Not everyone. I sometimes question if I should be getting tattoos in general. Like this feels wrong.
What was your first one? I've never actually asked you that before.
Uh,
By the way, again, Robbie often slags me and Marc off when we do podcasts. That's another thing I want to mention. This is the first podcast that Marc's not going to be here for because he's in Spain. He's at that.
and I'm here.
Yeah.
We could have traded places.
No, you could be at Primavera Sound in Barcelona. It was the best way for him to get over the Scotland game on Wednesday. Because he was very sad, as we all were. And but he had the best idea of just fucking off to Barcelona the next day. He had a bit of so we had like this whole plan. We'll get back again. This is what we do. We'd go on fucking tangents and ramble. So the plan originally was Scotland win that match. Because, you know, we thought we were quite good. And we were, but we were shit. We didn't turn up.
Ukraine was always going to be a tough game.
Emotionally charged and all that stuff. And they're a good side anyway. But basically the plan was, right, if we beat Ukraine, well, we're going to go down to Cardiff at the weekend and try and either go to the match or at least try and soak up the atmosphere of the match. Because even if we weren't at the match, it would have been pretty cool to have been in the place that Scotland potentially could have gone to the World Cup at, if you know what I mean. If you're in like a big bar in Cardiff or like a fan zone in Cardiff watching Scotland qualify in Cardiff, that would have been quite cool. But alas, earwax. And we lost. So thankfully the only money we lost was 14 quid on a hostel that we'd pre-booked just in case we got down. So in a way it was probably better for Marc especially because he would have a very complicated travel route. So of course he was leaving Scotland on Thursday morning after the game. So he was having to stay in Glasgow, but he thought, what's the point in getting a hotel because the game will finish at about 10 o'clock at night and then my flight's at 6 a.m. in Prestwick. So what he did was he drove, I think his dad dropped him off, his dad was at the game with him as well, I think his dad dropped him off in Prestwick after the game. And then he just kind of like hung about the airport for like probably 6-7 hours before the flight.
It's like great fun.
I know. I mean, I've not heard from him about that. I know he's there and he's fine, he's having a good time and all that stuff. I've not heard the story, I'll get that when he gets back. This is what I imagine he's done. He's just hung about the airport for ages. Probably had a wee kip on the plane and he's just gone straight into festival mode. And then he would have to imagine this though, right? He would have to have then booked a flight while he was over there back to Cardiff from Barcelona, which at the time, the day before the Scotland game, so even before we'd qualified, the flights had gone up to like 300-400 quid.
Fuck.
Whereas you could go from Barcelona to Scotland for like £100. So again, all the airline companies were preemptively putting the prices up in case we qualified. So you can only imagine what the prices would have been if we'd actually got there. So we'd have to have spent all that money going from Barcelona to Cardiff to meet me down there. And I didn't even know how I was going to get down there because again, I hadn't booked in preemptively because all the flights had sold out because guys had preemptively booked them again just in case. So it looked like I was going to have to get the train, which would have been £220 return. So again, not cheap either. Then of course, Marc would have to have paid for his travel home as well. So it just would have been hundreds of pounds.
Yeah.
It would have been worth it, but in a way, it was more convenient for us that we lost, and so felt like we'd both won £500.
Sometimes just look on the bright side.
Yeah, it was like
there's a silver lining.
I mean, this sucks, but we feel really rich now because we just got our paycheck for the rest of the month rather than spending it all on that.
Yeah.
What were we talking about before?
Tattoos.
Sluts. Tattoo sluts. Yeah.
Tattoo sluts.
How did we get into?
I don't know. My wife and my mistress tattooists.
That was it. Yeah. What feels worse?
They just all feel. I just feel it keeps me up at night.
Your first tattoo, that's what we were talking about. Again, I don't know.
Oh, my first one.
Yeah. What was your first one?
My first one was actually on my forearm, which I no longer have because I was 15 years old and got it
So
done.
that's illegal.
That was the guy who didn't have a license. It was done in his fucking living room.
Oh,
yeah, so that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I had a few people in high school who were doing the like Indian ink up in the fucking like maths class and all that as well, and I'd be like, "What are you guys doing? That's a terrible idea."
Do not ever get a tattoo by someone without a license or without a studio or not working in a studio because it is the dumbest thing ever. You will regret it later in life, and always wait until you're old enough as well because it's just stupid. And they were really bad.
Yeah. What was it?
It was like nautical stars. If you remember those back in the day, they were so cool because everyone had them. They were the original.
Nautical star. I don't know what they are. What are they?
They were the original. You know how everyone's got the lion with the crown and the fucking all that stuff. They were the original.
Like the star on the elbow.
Yeah, well,
it's
kind of like
call it not cobweb, spider's web.
So it's basically, but it's like, so you get the big star, middle star, and then the little star.
Okay.
But they're like half black and then a different colour. So mine's with black and red, obviously, as you can see. Still into it.
Yeah.
But
you're not letting the Thriller video go. You're keeping it alive.
Even when I change my jacket from like red leather, it still keeps it in there somewhere. But yeah, I don't even remember what I was fucking talking about. I'm not gonna
stars.
Oh yeah, so I ended up getting it covered up because one, it was horrible.
Why nautical stars then in the first place? Or is it just a tattoo?
It was getting a tattoo so that I could have a tattoo.
Yeah, rather than getting a tattoo.
Because that would make me cool, because I'm 15 years old and all the cool people have tattoos too.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, that would be cool. And the guy was like, yeah. And then they were like really fucking bad. Like they weren't even good done at all. As you could imagine, someone with that guy works in a tattoo shop now, which fair play to him, but
I'm guessing he's a lot better now than he was.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like I would just I avoid all costs just because bad memories.
So is that covered on your Lord of the Rings one now?
It was actually my Star Wars one, which
Star Wars
started my basically that's what started me getting heavily tattooed was I'll get a sleeve in that way to cover that part of my arm up.
Mm-hmm.
And once I had the sleeve, I was like, then I'll get the chest. And I was like, I'll get the other sleeve. And I was like, then I'll get my body. And
so did you go sleeve, chest, and that side?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I sort of worked my way
across
instead of that, and this.
Because I know you've got all that covered now. You've got your neck done now. A little bit on the face and the ears. Have you got it on your back?
I got one thing on my back which takes up about the top third.
Okay. Is there any pictures of that of me put in?
There is.
Cool. Thank you. You will send me them.
It is the three-eyed raven from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
I've
definitely seen that.
This will be an old photo, so you won't see my neck tattoos and stuff. But like, it exists. It's there. There's a photo somewhere. Yeah, it's cool. That was another.
You're a lot more interesting than Bran, though.
I am. I should be king.
He was like the Frodo of Game of Thrones for me.
That's actually insulting to Frodo, I think. And Frodo's a bitch.
Yeah, Bran's boring as fuck.
Bran.
I mean, it's not totally his fault because he was a bit, I've just had to be wheeled around by a giant all the time. But he's just kind of.
You know what would have made Bran cool is if he just summoned a fucking army with his brain and just like, yeah, fuck this shit.
Summon all the birds.
Then I would be like, he'd be king, yeah, fuck it. Or if he just like did his fucking Wargan into the Night King and just committed seppuku, like, fuck it. That would have been better than what happened.
We're on a Game of Thrones now. We'll just talk about that. Let's just talk about random shit.
Game of Thrones turned out to be not the best show of all time, which it should have been.
It was heading that way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Again, I've not read any of the books or anything like that. I'm not a proper fan, if you call it that. But I got into it with my, her as well, a friend Lauren.
Yeah.
She was like, you need to watch this. Because she knew I liked Lord of the Rings and stuff when I was a kid. She was like, if you like those films, just watch Game of Thrones.
I watched it early enough to not have the spoiler of Ned Stark.
See, I didn't know any of that. So when I started watching it, I think in real life, say real life, at the time with series 6 was that the penultimate one? That was like the last full...
No, 8 was the last one. So
whatever series was the last full series before like the mini series at the end, which was like, you know what I mean?
6
you know, the last series was like 5-6 episodes.
Yeah, and the one before it was about the same, I think.
Yeah, so I as I was catching up, through watching Lauren's old DVDs, that current full season, if you want to call it that, was going on TV as well. So it worked out perfectly for Hannah and I, because by the time we'd watched all the DVDs, that season had finished on TV, so we just managed to find the episodes online and then watch through all them. And then, so from not seeing anything to have seen everything only took us like probably a few months.
I'm so envious of that, because
then we started like,
to know what happened.
And then we like had like, what was it, like the 2-year wait or something for the thing to come out. So then we joined the club at that
how we felt.
And then it came out, and I was one of them going, that's not as bad as everyone says it was. And it got to the end, and I was like, yeah, it was as bad as everyone says.
You know when you're watching it in the moment, right? You're kind of excited.
Yeah.
You've got the buzz, and you think, that's not what's everyone talking about, right? This is that I thought was okay, and then when that buzz dies and wears off, you think about it.
I think
when I realize how bad it was.
I think when I started watching them back for like the second viewing, it would be like, oh wait, yeah, I get it.
I rewatched the episode Hard Home recently, which, if you remember, was basically when they go north of the wall to recruit the wildlings, and they just get massacred from all the White Walkers, and the Night King just raises his arms up, and Jon Snow has that stare off with him.
Yeah, and he gets the blue his white dragon.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, I'm thinking about the different episode, but that one's fucking. Right. That was actually.
Oh right, sorry, I'm thinking of a different one.
See, it's a bit earlier. It's so when, like the giants there, and like all the fucking White Walkers and Whites just fly off the cliffs.
Okay.
And attack all them, and kill them all. And then at the very end, he just raises his arms, and all the dead people.
All the ones they just spend all that effort killing them. And it's fine.
And then Jon Snow and the Night King have this big stare off, and then you're like,
they never got a payoff for that, did they?
And you're just like, later we're going to get this fucking showdown, and then
Jon's just
nothing happens.
He's just hiding behind a rock.
And Jon Snow, as well as that, right? He gets resurrected for a reason, because the Lord of Light always has a reason to like bring someone back. So you think this is going to be an important thing. He's going to either, become king or kill the Night King or both. Like,
he killed Daenerys.
He killed Daenerys, but like,
then we have
who cares about that?
And we have the Arya who will survive anything.
Yeah,
I loved Arya, but
stab. She
had that 100 XP plot armor in that last series.
It went from nobody having plot armor in Game of Thrones to everybody. And everyone you knew that was going to die by the end. It's like, oh, Jorah Mormont.
That was one of the good things. That was one of the good things about that show, because when you watch like most, it doesn't have to be like a medieval style drama in a fantasy world like that. And you watch 9 out of 10 shows, you're like, well, yeah, the main guy's not going to die, and if he does, it's probably going to be like at the end or something. Breaking Bad, for example, Walter didn't die until the last scene.
That's so good.
But in Game of Thrones, it was anyone could die at any moment, and so it felt more real, if you want to use that word.
And The Walking Dead tried to do the same thing, right? The show, not the graphic novel. I know it's like similar, but they interchanged the deaths in a lot of it. Apparently, I've not read it, but The Walking Dead tried to imitate it. I feel at a point. Like, we could kill off anyone at any time.
So you got to watch every week. But
they don't do it in a way that it's good storytelling like Game of Thrones did for the most part. They just sort of did it. This won't be expected by the fans, so we'll throw that in there.
So we're going to kill people for shock value rather than a reason.
Have you watched The Walking Dead?
I've never managed to get into it. I've watched a couple of episodes, and I just find zombies pretty boring.
Spoilers for The Walking Dead. Season something. I don't remember. The season everyone stopped watching it. Yeah. So basically
Is it still going, or has it finally stopped?
It's wait to finish, I think.
Because I've been told I never got into it, but even by fans I've been told it's a show that outstayed its welcome.
It's literally, the main character's not even in it anymore.
Okay, there you go.
Like, they just left. Yeah. They didn't die, it's gone. It's gone somewhere so they can make a movie or something, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
So, right, spoilers walking.
So there's a guy, and he's in it from the very start, called Glenn. The coolest little sweetest man. We love Glenn. And they fake kill Glenn. So basically, there's a part where Glenn dies in the comics. And so they decide to change everyone's deaths around, right? The whole show. But they're like, keep teasing him dying, that it's leading up to he's actually going to die at that point. But before it even gets there, they kill him off. And like, it is a really fucking stupid way. You see him getting eaten and stuff. And then in the next, like...
You see him dead then?
Well, you see him, like, screaming, and then there's, like, guts getting pulled out, and it's at a weird angle. So the way they did it, actually, it wasn't that bad, because then it does this flashback later on that shows you, oh, look, he was actually, like, it was the dead guy on top of him that was getting ripped open. And it was like, okay, I guess you could do that, whatever. So then the rest of the season was just him having near-death experiences, nearly getting shot, all this, all that. And you're like, right, so they're just like sort of teasing that, you know, it should be him that's dying at this part, but it's going to be someone else. And then it gets to the part, and he dies. And it's like, so you're telling me you fake died, you brought him back
to kill him again.
episodes later, then give him all these near-death experiences, just kill them off because you...
Feels like a waste of a lot of episodes.
Yeah,
they could be doing other
but
stuff.
they did it in the most brutal way possible as well. So like, man, this guy, he gets his head like pelted open by a baseball bat with barbed wire, and his eyeballs hanging out and shit, and he's all like talking to his wife and shit while his fucking brain damaged, and just like, yeah, it's pretty brutal. But you didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve it. Maybe I'm just salty. Maybe it was great, and I'm just salty about it. I still watched it after that for a while, and then it just got too tedious and dragged on for a bit, and I want to catch up, but not before it ends, but like after it's finished, just to... I feel like I invested too much time to not know how it ends. But maybe one day I'll get around to watching
Maybe one day. So basically, conversations like this are ones that me and you would have random ones quite a lot in work, because we used to work together. Shaun's my former boss in a major petrol company that may or may not have been on South Park once or twice before.
Yeah, a few times.
Sorry.
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
But yeah, so this is one thing. Me and you became quite close when we worked there. I mean, I worked there for about a year on night shift, so I was like, saw you in the passing.
Yeah.
And then I went on to days and was like, oh, this Shaun guy's quite cool.
He's alright.
Yeah, he's alright, yeah. But one thing that I really liked about hanging out with you and guys like Callum and Connor and stuff was like, I've got all my mates, like say who I do Perfect Balance with normally, who are like, yeah, football mates and all that stuff. But I'm also into like other things that maybe they're not into, like TV shows and
anime titties.
Not yet. Not yet.
I'll convert them.
Not
Don't
yet.
worry.
Not yet. But like I could like, you know what it's like, you've got different friends that you can talk to different things about. So that was like and like I've got like my pro wrestling friends or my nerdy friends, like you guys, if you want to call them that, or my
Thanks,
freaky
man,
friends and
thanks.
stuff like that. Yeah,
Make me look so
you're repping
cool.
the brand. Tattoo friends as well, because none of them have them. So I'll if I want to start talking about them, they'll be like, oh, I'm not really into this.
That's a tattoo.
But yeah, exactly. What is this? You heathen! You're not getting to heaven like that. That's
Party in hell with the gays and
briefly
tattoo
back
people.
on tattoos. One of the most ironic things I think is Christian tattoos.
Like
People-
like a cross.
Anything like that,
Jesus.
anything religious related, because I'm sure I'm 99% sure there's like a bit in the Bible that's like, yeah, don't get tattoos, you won't get into heaven.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like bodily mutilation
Aye.
sort of thing, so it's classed as self-harming in
Yeah.
a way. I don't know.
But
Altering your own body
in
because it's
pure-
not the way God made it.
exactly, yeah.
You know.
So
I
even
don't
if you get God on your arm, you're like,
If
sorry.
I stayed the way God made me, I'd be fucked, bro. Like, I was a little ginger child,
Yeah.
little ugly.
He is still ginger.
I'm still.
It's coming through.
I'm hiding.
He's
behind
hiding it with a red mullet.
Not the best idea.
You're looking like an early
redhead.
You're like an early 90s pro wrestler with that haircut, but I'm all for it.
You know what? I take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
I get called like
Like
an
an emo-
anime villain.
You know,
a
you
video
actually-
game villain.
I'm gonna put this comparison up right over my Facebook. You're now like an emo Shawn Michaels. because he used to rock a mullet like that, and he'd had the penny round his specs
I
and
wish
all that.
I was that cool.
Okay. Well, of course, Shawn Michaels, as we know, his gimmick was essentially male stripper. So maybe
Well,
that's the
not-
way you're
I
heading.
don't know if I'm quite there.
And you take your clothes off a lot online, so you know, learn how to do a super kick, and you'll be
I
fine.
like to show the nips off,
Yeah.
man, you know.
And you think you're cute, you know you're sexy.
Sometimes. I know my nips are.
Yeah, but Christ, what we're talking about?
I don't know.
No, not that.
That
letter.
company.
That company used to work.
Someone.
So we just randomly start talking about stuff like this and all. But you are also into your football a wee bit. So let's go into this week. Since we are predominantly a football
I wouldn't
channel,
say that I'm a connoisseur of the history.
I describe you as like
but-
what people might say about fans of like video games or comic books or TV shows or whatever. You're probably a filthy casual.
I'm a filthy
That is
casual.
how I would describe you.
I'll be like, you know, rooting for someone on the sidelines behind, not even behind the TV sometimes. I'll be working and just be like,
Yeah.
keeping updated with scores and stuff.
But
Like,
you can.
I don't remember the last time I went to a live football
No,
match.
but you care. You care enough that you could get annoyed about things. For example, remember I was talking about when we were starting to like become friends and start getting a bit closer to each other. So one thing that we always did at work was you'd obviously have we'd be out in the shop, you know, working a till or making coffee or selling stuff, that shit. So you'd have like your people who work know how these things work. You've got your staff area in the back. And so usually that's where like, oh, I put my phone on charge or I leave my money for lunch there or whatever. So one day, I've just been like checking a text from somebody at work and I've gone back and I've left my phone there. Eagle Eye here notices Dan's just put that on there and he's not locked it. He's going to... somehow he's managed to swoop in before the phone's automatically locked itself and goes, right, what am I going to do?
I think I might have actually just guessed your password.
Maybe you did.
I don't want to say
it may have been something Celtic related. Safe to say,
I was like, this will be yours.
safe to say it was changed after this happened. So let's go through what you did. And weirdly, this could have gone either way because this could have made me be like, "Who's this twat that's done this?" But thankfully, because I've got a sense of fucking humour, it went the other way.
So, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm a huge fan of Lightning McQueen.
You are, yeah. Hence all the red.
I inquired about getting a Lightning McQueen tattoo recently.
Okay.
And I want to get Ka-chow written on the inside of my lip.
Yeah.
Which, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, this guy's a fucking moron. Okay. And you're absolutely right, which is why I'm doing it.
He's thinking, what other tattoo videos can I make? Getting a Lightning McQueen tattoo.
Mum and Dad will be like, the fuck is that? So, I don't even remember exactly what I did, but I think I changed your profile photo on Facebook to Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
And then updated your status or...
It was like Boom Boom Ka-chow or something like that.
Something like Ka-chow bitches or something like that. Yeah.
I was just like, what? I'm getting these texts.
I was like, I don't even know why I thought that'd be funny. I was just like, this'll get him. And yeah, I'm pretty sure you didn't even know who Lightning McQueen was at the time.
I've never seen Cars.
So you're just looking at your phone like, huh?
I thought I'm gonna no sell this and just like pretend it doesn't bother me. So whoever's done it wouldn't get the satisfaction out of it. I think it was not until like the next day they were like, oh, did you see what Shaun did to your phone? I was like, of course it was fucking Shaun.
Every time I do something, everyone's like, it's you. So I'm like, how do you know?
To link it back to how I says about football, you're not big into it, but you're into it enough to maybe get annoyed if maybe things don't go your way for your team or whatever.
So setting reminders.
So I waited for my opportunity to get my revenge, and I thought one day I will get it. It might not be soon, but I will get there when I get there.
He says waited, and he's not even exaggerating.
No, so
emphasize the waited part.
Probably about a year later, you'd done something similar, whereas you were
on the computer.
I
think I was printing off something that
you were printing off something, and I think you were on your break as well. So you were just like chilling on Facebook or whatever on the computer, and because I remember it was on the computer because it made it easier to do all the things that I did. So I thought, right, revenge time. So I was like, okay, just make like it might have been our friend Katie we were working with or something. I can't remember who it was. Just right, just keep Shaun through there, keep him busy. Give me 5 minutes. So I think I changed your, profile picture to, I think it was a Tottenham badge because you're an Arsenal fan. I think I changed your status to something about it was like "Make America Great Again."
Oh, it's like
because this was like I think this was during it might have been during the campaign for him and Biden's race.
I think it was that.
It might have been.
I think it was the one before.
It was a pro-Trump thing anyway.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Being a nice guy, you're not the biggest fan
I'm
of
not.
him.
I try not to be a cunt.
Yeah.
I don't like anything that guy's up to. I'll tell you that much.
So I thought, well, again, like, I maybe went a bit further than you did, but I thought, well, this will wind
You know what? It's worth it.
You got to raise the bar.
Yeah,
I think.
you got to
So I
show
thought-
them.
So I thought, right, what can I do? I'll be like, right, Tottenham badge, Trump stars, and then for your cover photo, I'd turned it into Adebayor in a Tottenham strip, because I know that you were like, oh, that's one thing that you really hated, because not only did Adebayor fuck off to City when they got all the money, he doubled down being a dick to Arsenal when he went to stop Tottenham as well.
It's why. Well, you wouldn't want money, but like.
Yeah. I remember you told me, like,
move,
you immediately got loads of texts going, like, are you okay?
I literally got messages from people I hadn't spoken to in, like, fucking ages, and they were just like, are you okay, man?
No, I remember what it was now, though. It wasn't a Tottenham badge. It was Arsenal, it was Adebayor on a Tottenham strip, but I changed your profile picture to Shell logo.
Shell.
That's what it was.
HR gave me an email instantly, like, what are you doing?
And you're like, give me that promotion.
I ended up getting promoted twice after that, I think. So like,
yeah, you're welcome. Right?
It works.
I secured the bag for you.
You just got to show them how little fucks you give, and then they're like, "Shit."
That was like your way
to give him what he wants, man.
Again, linked into football, that was like you putting in a transfer request. And then going, fuck no, I'm giving you all the money.
It's nice to see that someone thinks I'm valuable.
That's it.
Even though that if I died, they would just replace me by the end of the day.
Same for any big company, though. It doesn't matter. You're not special. You're not a unique beautiful snowflake.
Yeah.
Again, I can say that to Marc and be like, what? Fight Club, what? Anyway, so that's why Shaun's here. But we were, so I touched on that. So you're an Arsenal man, but you're also a Dundee's your team.
I get the best of both.
So yeah, exactly. You got the best. As a kid,
pain and misery.
As a kid, your life was quite entertaining, though.
It was alright, you
so
know.
Like, so you mean you're what, same age, aren't
Yeah,
you? You're 20.
Yeah, Dundee were.
You're 28.
I'm 28.
Yeah, so we're the same age.
I'm 29 this month. Oh God.
Oh, I'm December.
Do a zoom on my face, being shocked right now.
Yeah. I'm younger than Shaun. By like 4 or 5, 6 months, whatever it is. But yeah, so how did you get into Dundee? Because we've done a few of these episodes in the past. How did you get into it?
I inherited it from my father.
Yeah, like Celtic with me and my dad. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think he just wanted me to be miserable because
he
knew what was
this
up.
This is character building.
Yeah,
but you say
this
that.
is why I'm the way that I am.
But you say that, right? But again, when we were kids, like for years, Dundee were the better team.
They were
the city.
pretty decent. Yeah, they were.
United were struggling bottom 6 for quite a long time.
I think it was like it fluctuated quite a bit. So when I was younger, when we were younger, Dundee were the better team, but they weren't like, way better.
No.
They were just the best.
And you had all like
the
cool like
you
you had the cool players playing for you, like
Caballero,
Argentinians, Sara, Zadze, Kitsbaya, Speroni, all these guys, Kanija.
And then it just came to a point where
ran out of money.
The administration hit.
Yeah.
Life became miserable, and it's been yo-yo ever since. Just relegation, promotion, relegation.
You're like the Norwich of Scotland.
It's rough. Yeah. It's rough. And then with Arsenal, it's like, well, Arsenal. The reason I supported them.
Yeah, I was going to say why Arsenal.
Basically, my dad tried to do the same thing with me, and he really liked Man United.
Oh, did you rebel against?
But I remembered how painful the memories are. I was like, I'm not trusting him again. He's put me through all this misery with Dundee. Yeah. So I think they were playing Arsenal at the time. I don't remember who won. Probably United, because they were in their fucking peak. So were Arsenal actually.
Yeah.
Just after that. So that's when Invincible.
Late 90s, early 90s was like their time.
Yeah.
Like.
But I seen Thierry Henry, and I was like, this guy's insane.
Yeah. He's my guy.
He is my guy. Yeah. And then I just started supporting him just to be a dick and annoy them. Because I thought every time they play each other, now I could be like, fuck you, got something to root for. And then eventually, hopefully, we'll get that win. And then I could be like, ha 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 ha. But, it happens sometimes. Nowadays, life's not treating either of us that well. I mean, it is a little bit, but, it's just disappointment, really.
So even as like a casual football Arsenal fan, whatever, how did you think the whole? Well, it was a few years ago now, but the whole treatment that Wenger got on the way out.
I thought it was horrible.
Yeah, considering how much he'd done.
I'm not just saying this because I know a lot of people will have been Wenger out, and then when Wenger was out, then everything went crumbling down. Then you're like, oh well, Wenger wasn't actually that bad. I genuinely always said stick by whoever the manager is, right? So Wenger was the manager at the time. Stick by him, back him. He's got you into fucking Champions League every fucking year.
I think it was like 20 years.
For 20 years, yeah. And you're complaining because one time you didn't get in it.
Yeah.
Fucking crybabies, man. Like,
I think a lot of I watch a lot of like fan made stuff on YouTube, football stuff. Like True Geordie's he's my YouTube guy, and he does his football show called The Kickoff, and he's got a lot of guys who support other teams around the country. One of the guys he's got is a guy called Rory Jennings on YouTube. He's a big Chelsea fan, and one of the things that he would always point out as a rival fan of Arsenal was that Arsenal fans, they got it in their head that they were always that club that Wenger had made them. Whereas he says that before Wenger came, they were more to the level of like a Chelsea or a Tottenham, where they were like, yeah, they were a solid like top half team, but they weren't challenging regularly for leagues or even Champions League places or cups or all that. They were kind of like,
this man gets you to the Champions League final.
He's like Wenger. He's like Wenger was the gap between making them a sort of okay team and to a great team. Never mind just a good. And even at the end, Arsenal was not a good team. They were still winning FA Cups and qualifying for the Europa League at least. And even I agree with that. I always thought that he was very harshly treated. Was it maybe time for him to leave? Maybe it was, but again, not the way it happened.
And then when he got replaced, it's the same thing. It's
and
like,
even Emery,
stick by the manager.
Because
the more you
got
bitch and
into
moan,
a bloody Europa League final against Chelsea.
But people will continue to moan and bitch, and then that brings their confidence in, then that affects everything. It's like a fucking domino effect, man. And it's just like, just support them. Give them as much support as you can. And I know it's going to be upsetting when you don't win easy games. Like recently, Arsenal have lost some games that they should have easily won, but like, you know,
I think you're heading in the right direction as a club though under Arteta, because like you've got a hungry young manager. He's already won you an FA Cup,
and it's
like
just,
that's not easy. And you're now the most successful club in the history of the FA Cup. That's nothing to be like.
Was Man United one behind? I think.
I think you've got one more than them now. When you beat Chelsea a couple of years ago, Chelsea who lost 3 finals in a row, by the way.
That
sucks. But yeah, so that took you like ahead of all time, and he's built on that. And I think now that Lacazette's left now.
Yeah.
I got announced yesterday.
Yeah.
I think they've ripped the plaster almost. I think Arsenal by getting rid of these big names, and then people are saying, why did they get rid of Aubameyang? He was a top scorer, and it's like, he was clearly like a toxic thing in the club. He was clearly like, he'd got his big contract after working his arse off for it at the time, and then it was like he was cruising, I thought, since then. And I also thought, right, get rid of him, and then they can use that money elsewhere.
I genuinely think also, personality aside and like behind the scenes aside, he was just too good for the way we were playing at the time.
I don't know though.
I think he was.
Do you?
Yeah.
I thought it was a great decision to get rid of him. Even
I
though it was for free.
agree. But like, they need to build a team up that have. You need chemistry in your team, right? You just need.
I think you're building. I think that is
what.
what's happening though, because you're building this like young core of players who, yeah, they might have like folded a wee bit at the end of the season, but again, they still at least got Europe. And the one thing I hate about, especially it's English media, it's like, oh, they've not qualified for the Champions League, so they've failed, and they're going to have a shit season now because they're playing Thursday, Sunday. Like, there's no reason why Arsenal can't go for a big run in that Europa League and get to the final. Because it's looked down so much in England, but look how highly it was looked at in Scotland when like Rangers got to the final, for example. Frankfurt, they had like a crap season in Germany. They finished like mid-table. Because that was one of the jokes, that Rangers managed to beat 2 of the best teams in Germany on the way, then lost Frankfurt in the final. But again,
we're all happy about that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Not as happy as I was. But it was like, from what I've seen, essentially everyone takes it seriously, except the English. And Arteta, I hope, will say to them, look, guys, Arsenal never won anything in Europe before. Let's have a fucking good go at this competition and prioritise it over the league. That's what I would be doing. Because again, they're a young team. They're only growing. They're going to get better.
I always like teams that have sort of a chance of winning. Like, Arsenal are good enough.
Yeah.
They have that good enough potential to win the Europa League or win the Champions League.
Yeah.
But
it's doing it. It's a different thing.
Yeah, but they also have the potential to be so fucking terrible at the same time. So I like a little bit of change. I wouldn't like to support a team that just wins.
Yeah, they need a little bit of little changes.
That's why I didn't really.
The massive change shouldn't be
gravitate towards like Celtic or whatever. Not like offence to anyone that supports Celtic or Rangers or whatever.
It's like we said. I support Celtic.
I
support Celtic for the same reason you support Dundee. Your dad.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, your dad will pick the team, especially up.
They are my sort of. I don't support them, but they're my sort of like second preferred team, just because like I don't know why I think my dad supported Dundee because he lived in Dundee, but like his dad supported Celtic and everything like that too. So I don't know, and his fucking, I think his grandparents were Irish or some shit, but yeah, I think it'd just be boring winning all the time. But nowadays it's sort of a split between Celtic and Rangers where like flip a coin really. It's always going to be one of the two.
It's getting very close.
It's always going to be one of the two most of the time, like 99% of the time.
Go back to Arsenal quickly. Now that Aubameyang's gone, Lacazette's gone, that kind of feels really like an era's properly ended with them because they've been there for what, 5-6 years.
Who do you get to replace them?
I was going to say that to you because obviously you're going forward with Ramsdale had a very good season last year after they were getting laughed at for signing him from I think it was Sheffield United. He just got relegated. He's had a solid season in goal. You've now got Tierney to come back from injury next season at left back, and you've got Tavares back up. You've got that Gabriel guy, the Brazilian boy who looks quite good. You've got who's your other centre half these days? It's not Holding, is it? Is that who normally plays?
Holding?
No, it's Ben White. Again, another player that was laughed at. Probably because of the fee.
I think
you signed him 50 million from Brighton.
Every
was a bit much,
recent signing that Arsenal's done always gets shit because they always pay so much for it. I think, and I think it's not even an Arsenal problem. It's just a problem with football.
Do you know why White and Ramsdale were worth so much money? Because they're English, and it's not even like the joke. Oh, it's the English tax. You have to pay more. It is a thing though, because in the Premier League's rules, you have to have so many English players in your squad. So, like, if you want a half decent English player, like a premium, you are going to pay. Is Ben White worth 50 million? No, he's not. He's probably in today's money. Really, if he was like Swedish, he'd probably be worth like 15, 20 million. But because he's English and you have to have them. Brighton essentially would need to say no. We need to be compensated for this, so we can then go out and buy an overpaid English player. That's why Jack Grealish was 100 million for Man City.
I think that's insane.
Because not only for Villa as well as having English players, and you have to have so many homegrown players as well. So homegrown by your club, so you have to have academy players. So Grealish was both for Villa, an English player and a homegrown player. So that's why they were like, well, if you want him, you're paying for him, because we have to then replace him with an academy player and an English player. So essentially, we're selling him, and then we have to have two people to replace him to meet the quotas and stuff. So again, like we're going back to White and that and Ramsdale, they were probably laughed at because look at Arsenal, they're now signing players from relegated clubs and like mid-table clubs like Brighton were. But to be fair to them, they've come in and they've done a really good job. And again, they're only going to get better. They've been there for a year now. They're only going to be better next year. They're going to get the chance to play in Europe. Yeah, it's not the Champions League, but let's not kid ourselves. The Europa League's a very good level of
I'm a
competition.
patient man. I can wait.
That's good, because a lot of football fans aren't.
They're like, this season we need to do this, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool, but like, I've experienced so much disappointment.
You're prepared to wait for
that
the
I'm
big picture.
prepared to wait, and then good things that come to people who wait. That's what they say.
So right back's an interesting one for you guys, because Bellerin's come back from Real Betis after a good season because he won the cup. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know that.
Real Betis won the cup in Spain this year.
Good on him, man.
Yeah. Do you think he comes back in and plays? 'Cause again, he's an Arsenal boy. He's been there forever.
I think it's difficult because
Because who was your right back last season? I actually can't remember off the top of my
I
head.
honestly don't. I don't even remember who replaced him when he fucked off. But it's a tricky position because a lot of people wanted him gone. They thought he was terrible. I don't get it. I thought he was pretty good. I mean, he wasn't the best at the time, but he was thrown into it. He was this young kid that came from the fucking
Barcelona's
the Barca youth
academy,
team.
yeah. To come in to replace Sanya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a fucking easy job, The guy's rapid, man. And
I think that's what a lot of his critics say, like he's all
he was just inexperienced when he first got thrown it. And then he got those few years in Arsenal, and people were backing him up until those last couple, like 1 or 2 seasons, and were just like, he's shit, get rid of him. He's always
became
been
a
shit.
became
He's
a
always been
scapegoat.
shit. Yeah, and that's the thing with Arsenal fans especially, is like, there's always a scapegoat. Sometimes there's several scapegoats, and yeah, you just need to look at the core of the problem, which is like, maybe not always set up a couple of players. Sometimes it is, yeah. Maybe sometimes it is the manager. But honestly, it just needs to get to a point where if the managing's on point and the players aren't sort of doing their full potential, then maybe it is something behind the scenes, like that, there's been falling outs and the chemistry is off, and there's nothing anyone can do to fix that. And it's just like, you need to build your team up to be team players and work with each other and
you're going to need
get
it.
confidence,
And you're going to need
gain
it.
confidence.
And again, now that you are back in Europe, you are going to need a team. You're going to need a squad. So whether or not he comes back, and I'm shocked at myself that I can't remember who Arsenal's right back is. But even if he doesn't come in and play straight away, he is going to have to play games if you are in Europe. So I think if he does come back in, he's definitely worth keeping for at least another season to see how he reacts after being sent out on loan for a year.
I hope that extra sort of experience just
Maybe
gives
it's
him
like,
that boost that he
maybe
needs.
it's like the kick up the arse that he needed as well. It's like, well, no, you've not been as good as you should have been. So you are kind of getting. You go out and do something else for a year, get your head straight. Maybe going back to Spain would do you a bit of good.
I think as well as that, it was like
Because you had to be
the
in
whole
league.
thing with Ozil as well at the time, like a few years back, was just sort of, I feel like that affected the full squad.
I thought
as well.
Aubameyang was like Ozil Mark II because again Ozil was
Yeah.
probably coming to the end of his prime, and then Arsenal gave him this fat contract when he wasn't going to be as good as he had been. So it felt like you'd given him all that money as a reward for the stuff he'd already done, but he was never going to be as good as that again. And his attitude seems to be his biggest problem.
Yeah, I think it's just the frustration comes into play more than anything.
Because you know how
with
good
these
he
big
can
players.
be. You know how good he can be.
Yeah.
But he can't. It seems like he can't
Well,
be Arsenal.
not even the frustration with the fans, like the frustration for them, the players themselves. Like,
do you remember about Ozil though as well? It was because of Sanchez had got to Man United. It's like they panicked and went, have money, stay.
That honestly ruined my life. It ruined my life. I loved him.
He's been a bit crap
and
ever
then,
since.
and then he regretted it too.
He went to Inter and did well, but he did nothing. Well, he won the league not last season, the season before with Inter, but so at least he got that. But he didn't work for him at United, did it? So it looked like
Nothing worked.
It looked like a great decision from Arsenal.
It looked like a great fucking choice on both ends.
It's because he was one of the
well.
best. He was one of the best players in the league. He was Arsenal. He was on fire. He was an amazing player. It was like he forgot how to play football when he went to Man United. Yeah, it's up there. So again, like Sanchez is gone now. Ozil's gone. Aubameyang, Lacazette's gone. You've got this like young looking back four. Weirdly, assuming Bellerin doesn't come back and be first choice. Weirdly, Tierney, who's still only 25 years old, is by far the most experienced guy. And now that Lacazette's left, I think got to be a shoe-in to be made Arsenal captain. Because Aubameyang was captain, Lacazette took it after Aubameyang. I think it's got to be Tierney.
He deserves it, I think.
The guy is a leader.
The only issue with him is like his injuries, but like
he gets one bad injury a year where you know he's going to be out for about 2 months.
Yeah.
You just have to accept that.
It was the same with Celtic as well.
Well, I think we kind of broke him because we overused him as a kid and we didn't rest him enough. And I think Arsenal are kind of paying the price for that now. I know, especially a club like Celtic.
Catholic team. Who would have known?
But he basically played. There was a lot of stories going around that he played through a lot of injuries and he got like the pain-killing injections and stuff. And that you can only do that for so long before your body's like, you need a fucking rest, mate.
So the footballers' bodies age so quickly, like just any sports really.
I think he will be the captain, and if he's not, it's a crime. But moving it, so we've gone your defence back four again. An exciting team. I think something that can do a team that can do something in Europe. I hope that they, I hope they prioritise that because that's arguably not easier, but it's arguably a more viable way of Arsenal getting back into the Champions League than having the pressure to win every week to get into the top four. Trying to win the Europa League might actually be a better way to do that. Midfield wise, what you've got, Odegaard's been like your star man in midfield who looks like, I think he's now at a club that suits him because he was obviously a kid in Norway and then he goes to Real Madrid probably far too early. He was never going to get a game in there. I think he was at Real Sociedad for a few years, but now he's at he's like a big club in London. He can be the star man. You've got him and you've got Emil Smith-Rowe. Who else have you got in midfield these days? I mean, Xhaka still plays, doesn't he? I think he's another one that needs to get going.
He's got problems, man. Like, he's just, I don't know why.
I just don't think
once in a while he'll have the fucking best game ever.
He doesn't have enough of them, does he?
Aye.
I think you need to be doing that every week.
I know, but he comes away with his hunger sometimes, and he could pelt the ball from fucking 40 yards.
And then the next day he's whining and telling all the fans to fuck off as he's getting subbed off.
Just trying to snap everyone's legs. He's just not got that fucking mentality or attitude to be in professional football.
I think he's just not consistent enough.
Dickhead.
I don't think he's consistent enough for what Arsenal need him to be. I think that I think if it was me, I'd be thinking right midfield next year's got to be what Partey start. I mean, again, if he stays fit, you're looking at Partey, Smith-Rowe, and Odegaard.
I think midfield's been one of Arsenal's biggest problems since, well, The good days.
Since 2005. No, that's
Since Vieira.
never replaced Patrick Vieira. 17 years later.
I think the
he's, and,
closest
he's now beating you as Crystal Palace manager.
You know what? I know. That's embarrassing. It's just the salt in the wind,
Yeah, that's it.
Santi Cazorla, he was the closest we had to sort of
Baller.
to just sort of have a midfield that it just felt home.
I loved watching
sort
him
of
play.
thing.
He's one of my favourite players to watch play football. Santi
Yeah.
Cazorla.
He's just-
Either foot. He was
So good, and we've never replaced him
It was
either.
when he used to take corners with like both feet. It was like, what? Like there's 2-footed players and then there's that. That's special. Saka looks like he's getting better and better all the time though as well. Young kid on the wing. And then who plays the other wing? You've got Saka and Martinelli. Again, a Brazilian. I think it's a big season for him. I think he's got to really step up and make that jersey himself.
All these younger ones as well, like they're now at the point where they're starting to get that confidence and that experience that they've had the last little while playing in the first team for a major like Premier League club.
Yeah, in a big stadium, like where I'd say there is pressure on you. Maybe not as there shouldn't be maybe as much pressure as some of the fans put on them, but there should be pressure playing for Arsenal because again we go back to what Wenger has made them. He's built them into a club of that size. It's now up to them to try and continue that on. And I don't think you finishing the Europa League place after a few seasons finishing outside the Europa League places, that's not a failure. It's progress is what it is. The next stage now is, I think for Arsenal, try and have another good season in the Premier League. At least finish where you finished last season, have a good run in Europe, and maybe try and win a cup.
As long as you get a step up, you know.
Yeah, as long as you're getting better every year, or at least not horrendously worse. It's not. Again, it should be a long term thing. Hopefully, Arteta gets that time.
I was going to say, like, if we're finishing one place below every year,
then
you should maybe look at getting a new manager, you know. But
say you finish
someone that's slowly progressing.
Say you finish. Say you
patience.
finished like one step further down than you did, and you finished in a Conference League place rather than a Europa League place. But say you went really deep into the Europa League, or you went and won an FA Cup. Again, I don't think you can call that a failure. I think you have to take loads of things into context because Arsenal aren't competing on the level.
People want to kick the manager out mid-season to get a new one to think they'll be the Premier League champions. It's
not always the solution. There is times where yes, it is the solution. With Arteta, I don't. I think I've talked about this with Celtic and why they should have got rid of Lennon maybe earlier than they did and all that. Or when people were calling for Postecoglou's head at the start of the season just gone because we hadn't started the league well. But the thing I see with Arteta, with what I saw with Postecoglou, you can see that even when it hasn't always worked, you can see what he's trying to do. You can see there's a vision of what he wants to do. And I think Arsenal under him can only be good for the future. But the one thing, again, you touched on earlier on, who's going to be a striker? I think that's the big thing. If you're going to buy a player...
I've not even got ideas. I don't even know who's, like, who's a free agent. I don't know who's in the rumour mill. I've not even looked at anything. I've not even had any thoughts about it.
I mean, the dream would have been somebody like Lewandowski.
Yeah.
Because he's free. Well, he's not even able to free because Bayern are going to have to... He's got 1 year left on his deal. But again, he's not going to go to a Europa League club. Maybe if you'd qualify for the Champions League, that's maybe when you could have brought somebody in like that. Or do you go the other way and actually give Nketiah a chance at being the number 9? Or you need someone... The young lad, was it Balogun, the young American kid you've got as well? I mean, it's probably too big of a step up.
Big shirt. But
Nketiah, could Nketiah be the step forward going forward? Could he be?
It's a risky move, but you know what? If they could possibly get someone transferred that has got that
like a good big, maybe even like you're not going to get a big European name, I doubt, but
someone that's got that
a Premier League experience,
and
to rotate them,
and you could sort of interchange them. Then it's like a sort of master and apprentice sort of thing. I don't know, but it also is less risky to do that way.
Do you know who would have been good? I think, but I don't think you would get him because I think it looks like he's off the AC Milan. If Arsenal could have got somebody like Origi from Liverpool and made him like your number 1 striker, because he's a big match player as we know, but he doesn't always play every week. I think that could have been an interesting. I think it's that kind of level.
Bring back Giroud.
He's done all right, isn't he?
That guy, man.
Look how much he's won since he left Arsenal. Champions Leagues, Europa Leagues, and
you're never looking back, man.
World Cups. He just won Serie A.
The Arsenal fans did him dirty as well. I think. I don't know. He was another one that was so inconsistent.
But
he was a great sub. Yeah. Like every time he came on as a sub, you'd be smashing the goals.
I'm a massive. A lot of us, me and Mark and our friend Zach, especially on that circle, we've got big Giroud fans. Because again, he maybe doesn't bang in 25 goals a season, but he'll
he's
contribute to a
reliable.
lot of goals, and he brings so much else to his game. Like he'll bring other strikers into the game. The Europa League final against Arsenal was a great thing of that. He scored a goal, but like he'd take up so much space for guys like Hazard on that night to score goals, and that's kind of what he does as a big striker, occupies defenders. So maybe that's the
His
route you go
goals are
down.
never too complicated
maybe you need to
either.
get
It's
a-
always just a fucking
Yeah.
tapping, or a fucking header, or a free kick.
or a scorpion kick.
Or scores, or okay, I take that back.
I was
because
waiting out of that. I was like,
that was fucking glorious, man. That was glorious.
So maybe that is what you need. Maybe you do need like a big lad up front to bring guys like Saka and Martinelli, Odegaard into the game, occupy the space. So any big centre forwards out there, just send your CV off to
If
Arsenal.
you're watching, you know what to do.
Exactly. Well, I think that was a nice wee chat, yeah? A nice wee blather.
Yeah.
Again, not structured. Maybe I think we'll do this again. Maybe bring in Mark as well. Maybe you can teach him with a bit of your nerd culture and try and get him on board.
Teach
with
him the
things.
ways.
Teach him the ways of the penny rounder class shade man.
I'm gonna take
Wait,
these off.
there you go. Yeah.
It's too bright.
Yeah,
It's too bright.
I even put the
I
blue
live
blind
in a
over
dark
there.
room
Yeah.
in a cave
Yeah.
my whole life.
With your green screen.
With my green
In
screen.
Locky.
It doesn't sound much worse than that, does it?
But yeah, I think we'll do another one of these. I was an excuse to see you as well. And subscribe to Shadowfax, but you probably all have already because you've got about 8 times the subscribers we've got.
Link in the description.
Shadowfax fans, subscribe here if you like the footy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even if you don't, if you just want to see
Because
people
your
talk
Lord and
about
Master
shit.
actually is secretly one of me as well.
I
Even
am.
if it is casually.
I'm a filthy cat.
Filthy casual who likes cream pies. Yeah. Until next time, keep it balanced.